Hey everyone, Boardgame Brody here with Meeple Mountain. I have a new copy of Moji. It's a tile placement game by crazybox Games. This is a pretty straightforward, simple game that uses emojis to take over the board. The board is the back of the box. Each player will choose one of the types of emojis and takes all those tiles, the 4 that goes with it, and this will be hearts, hands, smiley faces, or angry faces. And in a 2-player game, each player will choose 2 types. Players will take turns using their cards to place, remove, manipulate the tiles to try to get 4 of their own in a row, either vertically, horizontally, or diagonal. Turns go in a clockwise direction, and on your turn you can play any of the 6 cards in your hand to change the status of the tiles. Or, if you don't have anything interesting to do and you don't want to use what you have, you can discard all 6 cards for new ones by yelling, "I have no internet!" You will then draw back up to 6 new cards for your next turn. So the game really is upheld on these cards, as they each gives you a different effect on how you can try to get your tiles in a row. So let's go over them. The coveted enter key. Now, this card will let you place an emoji on any empty square anywhere on the board. And this is good to get your tiles out, but just remember all other players are most likely going to move them. If not now, then later. Also, if you have all 4 of your tiles on the board, the enter key will be less important to you, as you can't put another tile out if they're all on the board. The delete key. This card lets you remove an emoji tile from the board and give it back to that player, or if it's yours, you place it back in front of you. This is a great defense card when another player is about to win. The shift key. This card lets you swap places of 2 adjacent tiles, just not diagonal to each other. This will position your tile better, taking a spot that another player was positioned in. The tab key. This card lets you push a tile 1 square in any direction, never diagonal. If another tile is alongside of it, then it will push it in a line as well. But tiles cannot get pushed off the board, so this is better used when there are empty spaces around the board to move into. The escape key. Cards can become locked where they cannot be pushed or moved during the game, and the escape key unlocks that tile, and you will be able to flip it back to the unlocked side. The number keys. Now, these cards are used to place your tiles on the board, but you will have to be creative with them. You will use math to get a result where you want to place your tile. This will be using addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division. And you can, of course, use the number itself to place your tile by discarding that card and placing your tile on the spot of the board, matching that number. Or if you have a 3 and a 4 card, you can do 4 plus 3, which is 7, so place it on the tile on the 7 spot. Or 4 minus 3 is the 1, so place your tile on the 1 spot. 4 times 3 is 12, so place it on the 12 spot. Or again, just the 3 or the 4 spot using the single card itself, doing that. So the more numbers you have, the more options you have to where to place a tile. But the best and the coolest thing you can do with these number cards are you can use them to have a sum that is higher or over 15 to gain another turn. You will want to use other cards before doing this, as you will discard your numbers totaling over 15, those cards, and then you will draw back up to 6 cards total and then keep on playing. So this can really give you some extra moves in the game without others messing up with your plans, so that you have more actions in a row with each other. Alright, now some of these cards need to be paired with other cards to take an effect, just like you do on your keyboard. The control card, exactly. The control card plus the C card lets you copy the last effect that was just performed by the previous player. And this is great to play when the player previously just did what you can benefit from. The control card plus a Z card lets you undo the last effect performed by the previous player. Easy does it. The control card plus the S card lets you lock a tile, and you will flip it over to the lock side, and when locked, the tile cannot be moved or deleted. Lastly, each card has a color shown on the top left and bottom right, and when you have 3 cards of the same color minus the whites, you can discard those cards to take any effect that I've mentioned. So this is like a wild or a joker, and this is really smart to do when you really need to do something. Now, with all of these effects, you can use them on any tile, including other players. You can not perform the same effect twice in the same turn, even with the use of a Control-C or a Joker. And you cannot use a number effect if another number effect has already been performed that turn as well. The player who gets their tiles in a straight line of 4 tiles wins the game. And, well, that's Moji. Just like the box says, it's a hyper-casual tile placement family game. And that gives you the feeling of a tic-tac-toe or a Connect 4, but with an updated theme and updated gameplay. Having 6 cards give you choices as to what you can take and what actions you can perform. And the cards are random, but keeping certain cards and playing others will form a strategy for both offensive moves and defensive moves. So the game still has strategy and choices to be made, but the game also isn't complicated. So players feel so much more rewarded when winning because clever card play can let players align their tiles up without other players altering or interrupting their plans. But the game ultimately is a back and forth with players. In a 3 or 4 player game, players will go after who they think is in the lead, and that's just how the game is designed. So players need to be strategic in how they set up their plan to catch all other players off guard. Now, in a 2-player game, it's just a head-to-head battle, so you're attacking someone and always the other player, and they're always after you as well. The game can be played with kids, especially kids who know the keyboard. They will pick up this game pretty quick. The game is both enjoyable for adults as well as for kids, and it's a great game that can be played with the combination of kids and adults. Now the game comes with 16 tiles and 50 cards, and the back of the box is the board for the game. That's pretty cool. And the tiles are nice and thick, but the card quality is, well, not great. I do like the idea of using the box as the game board. Not many games do this, but this is as long as the bottom of the box doesn't take on wear and tear or damage because, for example, my Settlers of Catan box is worn out, but I don't really care because I'm not going to use it for anything. But if this box were to do that, it would matter a little bit more. But this box is pretty sturdy itself, better than a lot of others that I've seen, so I'm not too worried. So type away on the keyboard with your family and friends in Moji, a tile placement game by crazybox Games. Again, this is Boardgame Brody, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Stick around and check out some other board game reviews to see what you might want to get to the table.